Hello everybody, it's me Ross and welcome to another video. Today I'm joined by good old Stuart Watson. We spoke about left-sided players previously, Stu. Today we're talking about strikers, the men who should fire us hopefully to promotion. James Norwood, Macaulay Bond have departed. We've got Caden Jackson signing a new deal. Joe Pigott still in the building. But let's talk about 5 strikers Town should look to sign. Of course, you've done a great story on our website looking at 15 strikers, but we'll whittle it down to 5 strikers, Stu. And I'm going to start with a striker that I like a look of, and that is Jerry Yates of Blackpool. One promotion to the Championship with Blackpool a couple of seasons back. He's been playing Championship football last season, 25 years of age. Take it away, my friend. What do you think of him?
Yeah, someone who's got 2 promotions on their CV. He went on loan to Swindon, scored 12 goals there and helped them get promoted out of League 2. That got him the move to Blackpool that you've mentioned, went there and scored 23 goals and helped Blackpool make their late charge into the playoffs and get promoted during the behind closed doors season. And he's just been sort of in and out of their team in the Championship last season, 8 goals in 23 starts and 16 appearances. But he's been described by his former Swindon manager, Richie Wellens, as someone who's got a bit of everything. He's decent pace, can hold the ball up. He's been described as someone who's got dancing feet in the box. I just wonder if he's the sort of player that might just tick a few boxes for Ipswich Town. 25 years of age, might be one that fits the profile.
I've just seen he's got 2 years left on his deal, so it will be a fee will have to be involved. But you never say never with Mark Ashton and everybody else. It's
this is the thing, Ross. We don't really know what sort of market Ipswich are shopping in. When putting these lists together has been really difficult because in the past we knew under the ownership of Marcus Evans it was going to be almost exclusively free agents and loans, and the profile of player was pretty clear under previous managers. We're still in the early days of Kieran McKenna. He's played 3-4-3. We're assuming that's what he'll do again, but there's no guarantees there. He might have just been playing the best system he thought for the players at his disposal. So what type of players Ipswich go for this summer is very hard to nail down, and how much money. We know there's a bit of money behind them now. How much money they're prepared to put into signing this striker. And let's be clear, that's the player that's going to make the difference for Ipswich. Keeping them out wasn't too much of a problem, but they need someone to come in and get those goals. So Jerry Yates is the first one on that list.
Indeed, and I was going to go a little bit more left field with maybe a young player, lone player, but you said about goals. This man has scored a lot of goals this season in the second tier of France and won promotion to the top flight of France. And that is Rhys Healey, a player that people may know of during his time at MK Dons, scored those goals for them before then making a very surprise move to France. And of course, we've had Bertrand Selena on loan from Dijon in the second tier of France. So we've been in that market before a little bit. But Rhys Healey, Stu.
Yes, and I just said previously to you that it's hard to know quite how much money and quite how ambitious Ipswich could be. This one would be right at the very top end of ambitious signings, I would suggest, given that he's been linked to a host of Championship and a few Premier League clubs as well. Clubs like West Ham and others have been linked to him. I don't know how genuine that is, but that tells you about how much interest he has generated with what he's done over in France. His 22 goals for Toulouse have just fired them to the French second division title. So as it stands, Rhys Healey is preparing to play against Messi, Mbappe, Neymar and co next season in the top flight of French football. Could he be persuaded to come back to England, and could he be persuaded to come to League One with Ipswich Town? Unlikely, but not impossible, given everything surrounding Ipswich Town at the moment in terms of there's a lot of things that I think Ipswich can do. I think financially they could be at the table with these sort of deals. And then it's about selling the project. It's about saying we've got a really good, ambitious young manager, coach here in Kieran McKenna who's going to improve you as a player. And, we're going places as a club. So there might be a few names on these lists as we go forwards that I'm putting out that people go, absolutely no chance. But I just wonder, hearing some of the pundits talking about sort of whispers about some of the players Ipswich might be going for, I thought it'd be worth chucking someone like a Rhys Healey onto this list.
Yeah, and let's go back to League One then with a League One striker and a man from Plymouth, Ryan Hardy. A lot of goals this season. He impressed me when we played Plymouth. What else do we know about him, Stu? 19 goals last season.
Yeah, I guess this would be more of the sort of tried and trusted League One route. Jerry Yates obviously ticked that box as well, but in terms of having done it in League One in the season just gone, Ryan Hardy interests me. I guess people like Cole Stockton would jump off the page more, but I've gone with Ryan Hardy on this list of 5 on the short list because I just think he fits the McKenna mould more from what I've seen in terms of his all-round work rate. He's someone that can run at people. And he's one of these players, if you look at his goals, he seems to be able to sort of slow down time in the box and let the ball run across his body. And he's a good finisher, good all-rounder. And I think Plymouth play a very similar style of football to what Kieran McKenna wants to play there. And as mentioned in a previous video when we talked about Connor Grant as being a potential on the left, I just wonder if Plymouth might lose 1 or 2 players this summer, having just fallen short in the playoffs. So, yes, Ryan Harding, 25 years of age. He's just scored 19 goals in League One. You never know.
Good age as well. As I said in previous videos, good age, 25 for a striker. He's got a lot to work on and still, hopefully score more goals. Let's talk about someone who is at the beginning of their career and spent time on loan twice with 2 different clubs, and that is Keon Etiti. I'll probably butcher that. That's probably easy to say, but I'm going with that. Of course, he's on at Spurs, 20 years of age. I've seen, once again, I don't know if you can rely on Wikipedia. Apparently, he's 6'6", so he's a big boy. Was on loan at Northampton in League Two, and then he finished the season with Cheltenham in League One. So he's got some experience under his belt, but he's still very young.
Yeah, early stages of his career, 20 years of age. I'm going to go with Etete as the pronunciation there. I'm not sure if that's right or not, but you would have thought if highlighting a Cheltenham player, people will be saying Alfie May, who scored 26 goals for them, as they had a very good season establishing themselves in League One. But Etete is the one that kind of interests me a little bit more. The height you've mentioned there, 6'6". I think Ipswich have been a little bit undersized last season, but he's more than just a classic target man. He's strong, he's mobile, he's athletic, and if you speak to people at Cheltenham, they'll say that he was a really good foil for Alfie May during that second half of the season during his loan. It was disrupted a little bit with a few injury niggles, but first half of the season did really well at Northampton in League Two. Second half of the season stepped up and did well in League One with Cheltenham. And there's now talk about his next loan move from Tottenham potentially being in the Championship. So maybe Ipswich could sneak in there and say, his development is better served at a top-end League One club. Hopefully next season it would be a loan player though, and ideally we want the man that's scoring the goals next season to be a permanent signing, don't we? But I just thought some of his attributes were interesting, and Ipswich may need more than one striker this summer, depending on what happens with Joe Pigott and elsewhere, and maybe just an addition on loan just to add something different to the armoury might be required, and Etete might be one of those that would be of interest.
I think so too, and I didn't mention in the intro. Of course, Town could be in the market for 2 strikers, not just one, because that's a position we need to really strengthen and fire us goals. The final man is a international for his country of Finland, and that is Marcus Fors, a man who spent time on loan with Hull City last year. He's at Brentford. We had Shefty Kuchi, who is a Finland international. So that's a nice little segue into that. What's your thinking behind this one with Marcus Fors? I think you've mentioned him a few times before when we've looked at strikers. He's always been on your list. Do you like him?
Yeah, well, he was prolific for Wimbledon in League One only a couple of years ago. I think it was 19-20 season where he scored 11 goals in 18 appearances for them. So he's done it at this level before. When Julie went back to Brentford and played a sort of a key squad role when they got promoted to the Premier League, was often used as the super sub, but ended up getting 10 goals as they made it to the Premier League, and hasn't quite been able to get the game time in the top flight for them, but impressed them enough to get a really long-term contract. I think he signed till 2026 there. Has had praise from Thomas Frank. They see him as a player for the future. Had loads of Championship interested in January for a loan. Several clubs were trying to get him. He ended up going to Hull. That move didn't work out massively well. I think he got 1 goal in 11, in and out of the team. And maybe both for Brentford and for him, his development might be, instead of sort of being a bit part player in the Championship, he needs games. Sometimes players get to that stage. He's 22 years of age where he needs games, and Ipswich might be in a position to offer those to him. So he looks like a goal scorer. You never know. He might be another one, whether that's a loan or potentially even you could tempt Brentford with some money for a permanent deal. I don't know, but he's the last player on this list of 5.
Okay, then. Well, if you want to see more of the players that Stu has looked at, look on the website at the East Anglia Daily Times. 15 strikers at Town could turn to for goals this season. Stu, thank you very much for joining me as ever. Get in comments down below your thoughts on the 5 we've mentioned. Any other strikers you want to mention as well? Get involved, and we'll be back for many more videos soon. So see you then.